Life for the Poor in Pakistan. What do they drive? What do they eat? By Nolan Snelgrove. Pakistan has deep traditions and customs revolving around food that are common among both the rich and the poor. A common meal situation would be similar to what you see on the left. People primarily sit cross-legged. The soles of your feet must never show as they are considered filthy. If there are no utensils, food is eaten with your right hand. You never eat with your left hand as it is considered filthy. Guests are expected to eat multiple servings, which is an impressive aspect of the culture as many people do not have enough food for themselves. The type of food you eat somewhat depends on the area of the country you live in, but there are several foods that are common among all social classes and areas. Flatbread, called roti or chapati as seen on the right, is a staple of Pakistani diet and cuisine. Rice is also a very common staple food. Meat is a luxury only the rich can afford and is rarely consumed by the lower class. Tea is the most common drink in Pakistan. Because Pakistan is primarily Muslim, it is important to note that devout Muslims do not eat pork and fast from sunrise to sundown during the month-long religious holiday of Ramadan. Below are some food prices in Pakistan's largest city, Karachi. In 2013, roughly 60% of the population in Pakistan lived on less than $2 a day. Contrast that to Idaho's minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. In 1 hour, you make roughly 2.5 times what someone in Pakistan makes in 1 day. That means well over half the country can't afford well over half the food we take for granted. Having reliable access to wholesome food or food security is a huge problem for the poor in Pakistan. One source said the amount of surplus food declined from roughly 28% in 2003 to 17% in 2009. Many places in Pakistan are having to import food from other areas, causing spikes in price. Price increases make it harder for the poor to obtain sufficient food. Common natural disasters such as flooding have a big effect on food security. People are forced to spend more of their income on food, as seen in the 10% drop in food expenditure from 2005 to 2009, further adding to poverty. So what do people do when the prices go up? Simple answer is they eat less and eat less expensive food. Both lead to malnutrition. 40% of children in Pakistan are underweight due to malnutrition and lack of food. Many people are so poor they cannot afford fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables are subject to seasonal availability. In Pakistan, you can't just go down to Walmart and buy all the food you need. 2/3 of the population and 80% of the poor live in rural areas where food sometimes just isn't available due to the lack of organized markets. In mountainous rural areas, terrain, isolation, and lack of stable markets add to the food problem. Transportation is a big issue for the lower class. Forms of transportation in Pakistan include cars, motorcycles, buses, rickshaws, and trains. The chart on the right shows how a large part of the vehicles are owned by a small part of the population, showing the problem of lack of access. The majority of the time, cars and motorcycles are just too expensive for most of the population. There are no real forms of public transportation in rural areas. As you can see on the left, buses, one of the most common forms of public transportation, are often overloaded and can be very dangerous. A family crammed onto the motorcycle, as seen on the right, is a common sight in Pakistan. If you are lucky enough to have access to transportation, it is often crowded and very dangerous. Rickshaws are tricycle-like vehicles common in Pakistan. They can be pulled by hand, by bike, or be motorized. Guess how many people are on the motor rickshaw? You guessed it, 12 people. The government's attempt to solve the transportation problem consists of improving public transportation in big cities. Recently, $700 million was spent on a rapid bus system in the Lahore and Islamabad metro areas. These buses are air-conditioned and run in dedicated lanes, reducing the wait time for a bus to less than 3 minutes. It costs 20 cents to ride the bus, making it accessible to the lower class and poor. Although the government is making steps to improve the transportation situation, Pakistan's largest city, Karachi, still doesn't have a rapid bus system. There seems to be little hope for public transportation for the millions of rural poor living in Pakistan.